Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Avarice Podcast. I'm Devin. I'm your host today. Hope you're all staying safe during this quarantine, social distancing, COVID-19. The world is shut down and gone mad. Nonsense. It's been quite a while since I've put anything new out, and that is due to all this shit that's been going on. You would think that being forced to stay home and not go anywhere and etc. would provide me with more time to create content. But my son is also not in school now, so I am full-time babysitter, kindergarten teacher, PE teacher, recess instructor, all of the above, curriculum planner, trying to keep him active on schoolwork and trying to have him be physically active and get energy out. And that's an all-day job, man. That takes a lot of energy, and I just either haven't been able to carve out the time or haven't had the energy when I do have the time to produce stuff. So I am actually recording this early in the morning before he even wakes up. That's probably why my voice sounds like shit. This is the first time I've spoken to anybody today, is starting to record this podcast, but it's this crazy, bizarro, surreal world we've got going on where grocery stores are half empty. The world is searching for toilet paper nonstop. People are washing their hands like never before. Condoms are selling like wildfire. I'm considering using a dental dam for the first time in my life. Shit's rough. So I'm going to try to keep the preamble fairly short here. This podcast is going to be a commentary track on the movie Groundhog Day. It's a classic in my opinion. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite comedies, but it's got a certain niche. It fits in a certain spot, and if I'm in a certain state of mind, it's like the only film that's going to scratch that itch. And I think it's very fitting because the paradigm that we are living in currently causes us to have very repetitive, mundane type of days at this point in time. There's not a lot of variety. Each day kind of runs into the next. I'm finding myself wondering what's the point in going to bed early, what's the point in getting up early, what's the point in really anything, because none of it matters. Like the other day, I've actually taken to playing video games, which I have not done in years. I will play them occasionally with my son, but I haven't sat down and dug into a video game solo for strictly entertainment purposes in a long time. But I've taken to that now because I have so much extra time on my hands. And there was the other night, I was like, I need to quit this and go to bed. And then I had the thought, why? What the fuck for? What am I getting up early for? What am I trying to get to? It's just a bunch of sitting around. It's a bunch of stagnation. And so it gets to be very repetitive and mundane, much like Groundhog Day in this film. And I've had other periods in my life where I felt like it was Groundhog Day. There's a line in this film where he says, "What if there is no tomorrow? There wasn't one today." And that resonates with me. It's like there's a bell in my soul, and that statement rings it. Going back to my days of delivering newspapers 7 days a week, I've had a lot of periods in my life where it felt like every day was just a repetition of the previous day, and nothing was different, and there wasn't a whole lot to look forward to, and it gets a little bit squirrely because you start to realize how little matters when tomorrow is just going to be the exact same. Anyway, preamble's getting longer than I intended for it to. So today is Tuesday, March. I don't even know the date. I think it's the 29th or the 30th. And I'm watching Groundhog Day on Netflix. So if you are going to watch along with me, I'll give you a second here to get situated, or you can go ahead and pause the podcast until you are prepared. And I will give you a countdown that I'm pressing play. I'm going to take a sip off my coffee here real quick while you guys get situated. So also, because I'm recording this in the morning before my son wakes up, we might have a minor interruption when he does wake up and wander out here. I'll try to pause the movie and the recording at the exact same time, so you shouldn't even notice that I'm gone. But If it ends up being a hassle, I will address it when the time comes and inform you how to proceed accordingly. Okay, so if you're going to watch, get your finger poised on the play button. I am pressing play in 3, 2, 1, play. I didn't even check my volume to see if I got it on the right setting. This is oh, there's our music. This movie's PG. Wow. I guess that makes sense. There's nothing really particularly racy, raunchy, edgy, vulgar about it. It's just rare that a comedy is that effective while maintaining a PG rating. This seems really loud. Seem loud to you guys? And girls. I see you, little sexy kittens out there. That felt so disingenuous coming out of my mouth. Oh, Bill Murray. National treasure, Bill Murray. As loved as Bill Murray is, I would have to say he's still underrated. I think the older generation, your Gen Xers and prior, have a better appreciation for him because they got to see him in his prime, and it was kind of the only show in town. We hadn't been exposed to as much irreverent comedy at that point in time. But he's got the perfect dry, sarcastic kind of personality for this. How ridiculous must it feel to stand in front of that blank wall? Well, this resembles what a lot of YouTube people are doing. A lot of the tricks and the editing magic or whatever the fuck you want to call it involved in making stuff like this seems so corny and cheesy to me that I would have trouble getting into it, standing in front of this blank blue or green wall or whatever and pretending that there's shit around me. It would be a struggle. Of course, the concept of Groundhog Day is that Punxsutawney Phil comes out, and if he sees his shadow, then there's going to be 3 more weeks of winter or something. It's a really fucking stupid superstition that I've never put very much weight into because it makes no goddamn sense. If it happens to be sunny when the groundhog sees his shadow, 6 more weeks of winter. What a dumb, in a world where we have so much science and we understand how stuff works to such a T, to still have this vestige of the past, this stupid thing where we have a groundhog come out and look at his shadow, what are we doing here as a people? As you see him doing that broadcast there, and he's got the skyline, the picture of the skyline in the background, it is really hard for me to imagine that magnificent city, that feat of engineering and planning, was achieved by the same chimps that think that a groundhog seeing its shadow indicates weather patterns. How do those two things exist at the same time? Those are the same species. Those are the same type of thing. Those are both considered people. Ones who can design massive skyscrapers using math. And oh, she's wearing a blue jacket, so she's invisible. This was a last-minute change-up. I was going to watch a different movie, but I saw this on Netflix, and I was like, how fucking fitting. And this is a way that I can kind of break the cycle for Groundhog Day, my own personal Groundhog Day that I've been experiencing over the last few weeks, because I haven't recorded a podcast during that point in time, and I've never done one first thing in the morning like this, so this is actually novel. It's actually a new experience. Synapses are firing, as well as they can be for first thing in the morning. I gotta be honest, I'm slightly worried that I'm gonna run out of things to say while watching this movie. But that's par for the course. That happens damn near every time. It's a bit intimidating to think about filling an hour and a half, 2 hours with a monologue, essentially. But we make do, right? I appreciate anybody who's taken the time to listen to this. It's odd. When I started recording these commentaries about a year or so ago, it was just kind of something I was interested in doing. But it is, I guess, more relevant of a piece of content at this point in time than ever before that I'm not trying to toot my own horn or build myself up or anything, but it seems like now where most everything in the world has been put on hold and everybody is forced to stay at home and kind of keep themselves entertained, you're not getting a lot of new produced content unless it was already made. Everything's been shut down. Even Grey's Anatomy, they're not even going to shoot the last few episodes of this season. I only know that because my wife's a diehard. I hate that fucking show. So you have more people kind of going deeper in their search results on YouTube and deeper into their podcast archives and looking for stuff. And because I primarily do these on older pieces of content and media that people are familiar with, and everybody is forced to do the social distancing stuff, you can turn on one of my podcasts and it's like you're watching the movie with somebody. I can be your friend and I can be your digital audio friend in this period of crisis for you. Heidi 2, a family classic. Is that a Shirley Temple movie? I think Heidi was a Shirley Temple movie. What the fuck is Heidi 2? I thought the story was pretty much culminated in Heidi 1. We're still in opening credits. Oh, my back. Oh. So, on top of contending with my son's never-ending energy supply and its daily replenishment, we also live in Portland. And the first week he was out of school, it was nice outside, and it was quite a bit easier to get him active and get energy out and not have him be bouncing off the walls and be so annoying at night. But the last week and a half or so, it's been basically raining every day. So trying to figure out some active things for him to do with outside not being an option and going to parks not being an option and going to places like... So I have some old king-size mattresses in the garage. And I just laid them down on the floor and turned it into like our own little bouncy house trampoline world thing. One of them is your kind of old stuff. Sorry, Bill Murray's shoving his hand in his mouth like that. One of them is kind of your old style spring mattress. It's only like 4 or 5 inches thick. And the other one is like 15 inches thick, pillow top, memory foam, all the like. So one of them's real bouncy and thinner, and the other one is like walking on a giant cushion, essentially. So yesterday, I was play wrestling with my son, and I threw a fake kick at him, kind of like, cartoon style or in the movies, and both my feet came out. I went ass over tea kettle and landed on my back on... I forgot which mattress I was on. I was on the thinner mattress, and I weigh enough that if I slam all my body weight down on that mattress, I could press it all the way down to the floor. So I go flying up in the air and land back and just slammed my upper back on the concrete floor, essentially. Of course, my momentum was broken a little bit by the mattress. It broke my fall somewhat, but for the most part, I went right through that motherfucker into the concrete floor. And I can feel it in my neck and shoulders today. The other mattress is so big, I can't jump high enough to gain enough momentum to hurt myself on the other one. But on the thinner one, I had just temporary lapse in judgment, and I paid for it. Still continue to pay for it. Luckily, it was nothing serious. My wife said she heard it.
See Groundhog? Yes, I am. Do you think it's going to be in early spring?
It's yucky. That guy's been in a bunch of weird roles, and I can't think of any of them right now. Oh, yeah, he's the guy that's all tatted up that gets the tattoo that says Love and Mama from Armageddon. He's in the anti-ladies man club in the Ladies Man.
Would you like some coffee?
I don't suppose there's any possibility of getting an espresso or a cappuccino this morning, is there?
Oh, you big city folk. You can't even drink some standard coffee. What are you, gay?
I hope you enjoyed the festivities.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure I'm
There's a lot of similarities between Bill Murray's character in this film and me. He's very sarcastic. He's not enthused with your small talk. He's not interested he's basically he's begrudgingly participating. Essentially, it's
Did you want to talk about the weather, or were you just making chit chat? See you later.
he can't be bothered. He just doesn't care. It's not to be rude. It's
Chance departure today.
when you're that kind of person, it feels rude to you when other people constantly want to talk to you about nonsense. So you shut them down because you're like, what the fuck are you bothering me with this about? Is this a pertinent question? It's not exactly a soup question. Shout out to Finding Forrester. But there's also negative elements to that. I'm not trying to glorify the character. He's kind of an asshole to some people. But that's me.
Hey, now don't you tell me you don't remember me, because I sure as heck fire remember you.
In this scene, I'm actually Ned, because I'm the guy, as I've said in previous podcasts, who always had the great memory for names, faces, that. So I would see people, and I would recognize them. I would remember exactly from where, and they wouldn't be able to connect with me on that. They wouldn't have the recollection. It would just fly right over their head, and I got so sick of that happening to me over and over and over again. It's almost a memory. A good memory is a gift and a curse, because sure, it comes in handy at times, but there's also times where it's like it's not crippling, but there's no point when you can't share it with anybody else, if that makes sense. If every
Talk with you, but I'm not going.
I'm having trouble wrapping my arms around how to explain this. But whenever you have a reference or a memory you want to bring up, and whoever you're trying to share that moment with can't recall it, it's kind of useless. You're alone, and is it even real at that point? There's nothing to verify that you're actually. Anyway, that was a rabbit hole.
It is so good to see you. What are you doing for dinner?
Something else.
But
It's been great.
yeah, again, now back to the Bill Murray side of the conversation. Oh, watch out for that first step. It's a doozy.
Watch out for that first step. It's a doozy.
I will if I'm the guy who has the memory and recognizes people, but I'm also the antisocial one. So unless I'm forced to interact with them and have that kind of awkward conversation about, I know you from such and such, and they're like, nah, not clicking, bro. I will walk the opposite way around the grocery store to avoid talking to somebody I went to high school with. I just don't want to have the conversation. It's not going to go anywhere. Neither of us are going to gain anything from it. It's just a waste of time. Hey, how you doing? I ain't seen you since such and such. Are you married? He's cool. Okay, well, bye. See you later. I'd just rather not do it.
You're missing all the fun. These people are great. Some of them been partying all night long. They sing songs till they get too cold, and then they go sit by the fire and they get warm.
And he seems aware of the absurdity of all this, kind of like I was talking about at the beginning of the film. Like, what the fuck are we even doing here? This is a news story. I'm supposed to be a self-respecting weatherman, and I'm here to see what a fucking groundhog thinks is gonna happen. Look at these idiots in their stupid old-timey outfits. Like, imagine getting up in the morning and being like, "Ugh, I gotta get dressed up. Gotta let the groundhog out today and see if there's gonna be more winter." Huh?
The master, Punxsutawney Phil, the world's most famous weatherman. The Groundhog, who, as legend has it, can predict the coming of an early spring.
And the name, Punxsutawney Phil. Punxsutawney's a place, right? I think in Philly.
Still feel lucky.
Is he always Punxsutawney Phil? How long do groundhogs live?
The guy comes out with a big stick and raps on the door. They pull the little rat out. They talk to
They
him,
pull the little rat out and they talk to him.
and then they tell us what's gonna happen.
I don't even understand the seeing in the shadow thing. It's daytime. He most certainly would see a shadow. And they don't even like let him wander around. They just bring him out and hold him.
You like your guys?
He dried off his teeth. A lot of you probably know how he's doing that, but if you don't, you take your index finger and you just rub it across the face of your upper front teeth, and then it dries them off and your lip kind of sticks to them at the top and it'll just hold there. The guy that my dad was friends with when I was a kid used to scare the shit out of me by doing that. Because you wouldn't expect it. He'd be looking at you, he'd turn around to mess with something, and he'd come back and his teeth would be all fucking Me, Myself, and Irene. On the mic right now is actually Bill Murray's older brother. They have a peculiar family of acting brothers where Bill Murray is far and away the most famous. But his older brother, who was just talking on there, was the arcade owner from Wayne's World. He's got that real distinctive voice. And then his younger brother was, I don't remember his name. He was in One Crazy Summer. He was in Mad Men. He's the guy the alcoholic guy that pissed himself in his office that they fired. He's in God Bless America, which is a great movie.
Take a look at this.
And then I don't even remember this guy's fucking name. He was in a lot of movies back in the 90s, and I haven't seen him in shit since then. He's Woogie in There's Something About Mary. Easy with your control issues about honking your horn.
No!
This scene just brought me back to delivering newspapers in the snow. Talk about a Groundhog Day experience. That was the worst. I pride myself on being particularly reliable and prepared, especially in those situations, and I've always had an all-wheel drive car for delivering in. So I always felt that if I could make it, I had a responsibility to make it. I never wanted to be the one that called it and then had somebody question that decision or claim that I could have made it and didn't try to. So I always tried. And the worst would be to put forward all that effort. It's fucking stressful to drive in the snow. So doing it for hours and having to go through all these little neighborhoods and deliver it gets tense. And by the time it's over, you're exhausted. So then to wake up the next day and see that all the snow's still there, it's all going to be the exact same shit again, and it's all going to fall on your shoulder is just, oh, God.
Emergencies or for celebrities. I'm both. I'm a celebrity in an emergency.
There's very few jobs where, I mean, most people are acclimated to 40 hours a week. A smaller percentage, but still a lot of people are acclimated to weekends off. So to have a job that's at night and 7 days a week and sometimes really long hours, it's a very military-esque feeling. You don't have the danger associated, obviously. I'm not talking about that, but just the way that it's unrelenting, it's always going to be there. You cannot avoid it. You have to look it straight in the face every day when you wake up.
So what are you gonna do?
Holidays, all that goes by the wayside. It's a different thing, and it shows you the potential of what a person can actually do. Ooh wee! Look at that flimsy ass setup. How many times can you open that shower curtain before that whole thing just falls on the floor? Hanging a heavy bag with toggle bolts? Strong fart would knock that thing down.
Mom, isn't there any hot water?
Oh, no, there wouldn't be today.
What an absurd question. Oh my God. He asks if there's hot water and she just laughs him off. Oh, little hand in mine. We have a journey that we go along with him on here. Of course, we just experienced the first Groundhog Day where we got to see how unenthused he was, how sarcastic he's being. He just wants to go through the motions and get the fuck out of there. He finds out they're snowed in. He has to take the shower with no hot water. Now he's waking up to the exact same song and morning broadcast that he heard the previous day. And he slowly has to go about realizing that he's living yesterday over again. And he's got to kind of wrap his mind around this paradigm and this reality and figure out what the fuck's going on. And he struggles with it for a short period. Then he starts to figure out what's going on, and he starts having fun within the confines of that. Trying to get Andy McDowell to fall in love with him. Basically trying to kill himself. Doing anything and everything he can to make tomorrow be a different day. And that's where that statement comes in. What if there is no tomorrow? There wasn't one today.
Morning!
That statement has always resonated with me so much, and I say it to other people and they look at me with this blank expression like they just don't get it. Maybe it has to be a feeling that you've had, that you're just living the same day over and over again before it really just it's like a key in a lock. It just fits perfect for me. That statement goes into my soul, turns my key. No homo. Just go ahead and shave your dude. Shave your dude. Go ahead and shave your head, dude. I can see your scalp right now. Bill Murray's got the curlier hair, so it hides it. But that other guy that had like the part and the slicked back hair, you could see his scalp through. Like, who you fooling?
Mr. Connors?
Did I sleep well?
She has a toaster on that.
Yes.
What do you even call that thing? The,
I hope you
is it a vanity or a mantle?
There's talk of a blizzard.
Do you ever have deja
Like,
vu, Mrs. Lancaster?
If this happened to
I
you,
think so, but I could check with the kitchen.
how long would it take you to realize it?
Checking out today.
And how long would you go along with it before you threw your arms up and said, wait the fuck's, am I being punked here?
Is 80%. 75, 80.
And that brash kind of confidence he's got is gone. Because he's now in a reality he doesn't understand. How is this possible?
Excuse me, where's everybody going?
To Gobbler's Knob. It's Groundhog Day.
Why does everybody want to go watch it though? What the fuck is the matter with you people? Don't you know you could do different things? Who wants to go watch a groundhog? Who cares? Literally, who cares? I cannot think of anything I want to do less than go out, stand out in the cold and listen to these assholes talk to a groundhog.
Oh my, Bill Connors. Now don't you say you don't remember me because I sure as heck fire remember you. Well,
It's very easy to see how you would punch this guy in the face after 2 or 3 times of having to go through this exact same experience with him.
how's it going?
He's annoying and abrasive as fuck. He strikes you as a guy who's never had a friend in his life.
Well, you know, it's funny you should mention your health because you will never guess what I do now.
Suck dick.
Sell insurance?
Oh, Bing, again, you are sharp as a tack today.
Watch out for that first step. It's a doozy.
Because if you do, you could always use a little more.
I think it is time to fumar un cigarro. Porque es, I don't know how to say morning. I don't know how to speak that much Spanish. I picked some of it up through the jobs I've had over the years. I've never taken a class. I thought I would be contrarian and take German in high school because everybody else was taking Spanish, and now I kind of know how to speak German, but I don't have anybody to speak it to, and everybody else speaks Spanish. It's one of those decisions you live to regret. But working at McDonald's for 3 years and then building windows, and I've worked around a lot of Mexicans, a lot of whom didn't speak any English, so I kind of had to learn how to speak Spanish somewhat to be able to communicate with them. So a lot of my vocabulary pertains to like how to make cheeseburgers and
I need someone to give me a good hard slap.
sizes of window vents, balances, things like that.
If you need any help with the other cheek, let me know. I'm right here.
Something's going on. I don't know what's
Are you drunk or something?
drunk's more fun. Can I be serious with you?
I don't know. Can you?
Yes, I'm being serious.
If there ever was a more appropriate circumstance to use dental dam, though, than right now during this coronavirus shit, I don't know when it was. Because dental dam is like, I really want this, but I'm also having a rough life. That's the feeling. Like, nobody uses dental dam and is like, this is a perfect experience. So it just seems fitting to use it in these current day and age.
Well, it's Groundhog Day. Again? That must mean you were up here at Gobbler's Knob, waiting for the forecast from
Well, it's Groundhog Day again.
Tony Phil, who's just about to tell us how much more winter we
I don't know how many more days it's going to take before I just lose track of what day of the week it is, what date, like, because it's so inconsequential at the moment. Other than the fact that my rent's coming up, I got to pay, and thank God I actually can pay it. My wife is still working. They've taken them down to 3 days a week and staggered their shifts and everything, but she works for a bank, so she kind of has to work. It's essential. And I sell stuff online on eBay and Poshmark and work from home. So nobody's coming to save me. Luckily, I had the idea to go to the Goodwill outlet, many times over the last couple weeks and stock up. So I have a surplus of inventory that I can slowly take pictures of and list online over the course of the next couple weeks. And hopefully stuff's cleared up by then. And basically I bought myself some time, is all I'm saying. I stocked up on shit to sell so that once everything was shut down, I wouldn't be totally up the Ganges without a bamboo oar. But there's nothing, you're not trying to get to anything. There's nothing you just came from. There's no appointment. There's nothing. So it's really hard to maintain structure and discipline and focus and get stuff done because none of it matters right now. As long as you have food and you're not going to get kicked out of your house, there's really nothing you can do about the rest of it. This would all get so grating so quick. How many times could you listen to the same song in your morning alarm clock before you just want to, before you hate that fucking thing?
Did you sleep well?
He already didn't want to do this. It's bad enough. Take anything you love doing, if you were forced to do it nonstop, just perpetually, you would begin to hate it. He already didn't enjoy this, and now he's still being forced to do it nonstop perpetually. Oh, the grating just... Ugh. Respect that he still goes through the motions, though. At least at this point. He's not throwing his arms up in the air and saying, "Fuck it all, why am I even doing this?" What would you do if you got to live the same day over and over again? The rules really don't apply. You can't lay any foundation work for the future. Anything that you want to accomplish needs to be started and finished today, and there's going to be no lasting effects. But on the flip side of that, any risk you take that doesn't pay off, you only have to live with the consequences for less than a day. Oh, he's decided to go ahead and have breakfast. And he starts to memorize the ongoings like he's watching a movie. Oh, here goes the yellow station wagon, almost like he's in the Truman Show.
Okay, now tell me why you're too sick to work and it better be good.
Rita, I'm reliving the same day.
Over and over and over and over and over and over. Open, open, open.
No, really, this is the third time. It's like yesterday never happened.
I'm racking my brain, but I can't even begin to imagine why you make up something like this.
I'm not making it up. I am asking you for help.
Okay, what do you
He can predict the future, but only as far as today extends. How useful is that? It's all good questions.
get your head examined?
I think this is a severely underrated movie. Of course, it's totally unrealistic, as far as we know.
Look up for your shadow there, Beth. Morons, your bus is leaving.
You guys ready? You better get going if we're gonna stay ahead of the weather.
Oh, going to the grocery store yesterday.
Why not?
It's so weird because the grocery store is one of the only places people are allowed to go, but it's still empty in there. The shelves have actually gotten restocked quite a bit. Last weekend when we went, there's no pasta, there was no toilet paper, there was no nothing. And toilet paper's still hard to come by. We found a shitload at Costco yesterday, but like the ramen was all stocked back up, the spaghetti was all stocked back up, the soup was all stocked back up. Other than paper products, and like hand sanitizer, there was very few things that were completely barren. The shelves were all well stocked. They're keeping the distancing while people are checking out. Everything seemed to go off pretty much without a hitch.
A biopsy.
A psychiatrist.
And that's kind of what I was... I didn't think we were going to reach like Venezuela stores empty for months type status. You just had to wait for the supply to catch up with the demand. You had to wait for the new shipments to come in and the stocks to get shelved, or the stocks to get shelved, the shelves to get stocked, and... excuse me, all these people that are hoarding shit to stop buying because they have as much as they need. It's going to level off. And I was waiting for that to kind of happen, and it seems to be happening now.
I think we should meet again. How's tomorrow for you?
What if there is no tomorrow? There wasn't one today. He put a pillow in front of his face and he's punching it.
I was in the Virgin Islands.
At some point, he comes up with the idea to try to stay up all night into the next day, right? And that's how he's going to beat it. Because that would definitely be one of my plans. I'm a night owl as it is. It's not like the next day has any consequence or significance. You've already done it 100 times. What the fuck? Let's just see what happens.
Why couldn't I get that day? You know,
When there's no consequences, risk loses its meaning. There is no risk because you just get to brush off and try again. It's almost like playing a video game. He's just going to respawn back where he was until he figures it out.
am I right?
Some people think this is how life works.
If you were stuck.
I don't know if it's Buddhist or Hindu, but some people think that you live this life, and if you didn't get it right, when you die, you come back and start it all over again, the exact same life, live it again until you get it right, and you're just in that cycle until you achieve enlightenment, and then, I don't know, you cease to exist because you're pure energy and light. There might be something to that, because there's been situations in my life where it's a weird deja vu feeling where it's like I've made this decision before. I swear to God, I've made this decision before. Or you're weighing two options, and you just have this like feeling in your gut, like I feel like I've done this before and it's led to bad consequences, or it was a mistake and I need to go the other way. You have these pulls. I don't know, maybe I'm just a stoner. That's definitely likely. Oh, this is the interesting part. I have to take a piss, which I would normally just do out of my back patio, but it is light outside. Normally record these in the middle of the night. But if I go back into the bathroom to do that, it's just going to sit here and record the audio from the movie the whole time.
No tomorrow. That would mean there would be no consequences.
Oh, he's figured it out.
Hangovers. We could do whatever we
There's no consequences. There's no hangovers.
That's true. We could do whatever we want.
It took a booze hound to propose that idea to you? It's just full Grand Theft Auto mode. Luckily, he never takes it as far as like killing anybody. Because if you think about it, he really could. He could kill them and then the next day they would just be back. He could have like his own little evil playground where he it'd basically be Grand Theft Auto. He could just destroy everything and then the next morning the whole slate would be wiped clean. It'd be like he started over. He's not going to get to keep his weapons, but he also won't wake up at the hospital.
Oh yeah. Don't drive on the railroad track. Phil, that's one I happen to agree with.
There was sparks coming out from underneath that car.
Sometimes I think you just have to.
Is it just so low that it's rubbing on the train track, or do they have some type of mechanism keeping it attached? It doesn't look like it. It's swerving all over the damn place. Fuck riding in that thing. That big-ass boat on those train tracks. Look at that classic steering wheel cover. Everybody had those then. Kind of perforated leather with the nylon cord wrapped around it. He does kill himself in this, right? I think he drops a toaster in the bathtub. It walks a line, because this could very easily become a dark, dark movie. Just some of the shit I've suggested, and some of the stuff they actually do, but they go more lighthearted with it. He could have driven right into that train there. It could become almost like a Death Wish movie, where he's trying to figure out how to end it that way. You could definitely take a dark turn with this Groundhog Day.
Yeah, 3 cheeseburgers
What was the action movie where he kept living the same situation over and over again? Wasn't it Looper?
and some flat.
I haven't seen that in a long time, but it was like he had to stop the train from blowing up, and if he failed, he just went right back to the beginning again. I could be misremembering that. See, you can go to jail next morning, wake up in your bed. Now he feels like he beat the game. He figured out the confines and the rules, and he knows how to manipulate it accordingly. And he's gonna get to,
Slept like a baby, thank you.
like I do with all my favorite movies, where he knows everything that's coming before it happens, and he can repeat the lines.
Mrs. Lancaster, was anybody looking for me here this morning? Perhaps a state official, maybe a blue hat, gun, nightstick?
Oh.
Like that. Will there be?
Apparently not. Will you hold my room for me, please? I'm going to stay an extra day. Take tomorrow, huh?
Hey, Phil.
And he can figure out how to get the desired result based off a process of elimination. He doesn't get just the instant gratification of seeing the result of his actions, but he could experiment with all these different ways to go about his day and see if anything changes when he relives it the next day. It's this weird experiment. See, he's eating whatever the fuck he wants because nothing matters. He's living in a simulation. It's a video game world.
I like to see a man of advancing years throwing caution to the wind. It's inspiring in a way.
I would feel like shit if I ate all that.
Not advancing as
I could eat like 25% of that, and then I would feel like throwing up.
Yeah, just keep it coming, please.
Okay.
He drank it straight out of the mug. Oh, God.
Cholesterol, lung cancer, love handles.
He's in an existential crisis.
I don't worry about anything anymore.
What makes you so special? Everybody worries about something.
That's exactly what makes me so special.
I'm just realizing in this moment how it could be a commentary on the repetitiveness of our actual lives. Of course, we don't live the same day technically over and over again, but a lot of the things we do are very routine, and it can get to the point where it feels like it's the same day over and over again, like I was talking about with the newspapers. And you see how he's throwing caution to the wind here because he's struggling to find meaning within this temporary existence, which is what we basically are doing as human beings. When
I love poetry.
he's realized that essentially none of it matters. And so now he's struggling with what to care about and what to dedicate his time to, how to find meaning if none of it's actually ultimately important at all.
Ahead of the weather.
Thanks, Larry. Well, would you like a doggy bag?
Basically, how to be happy.
No, I'm going to stay here and finish.
I thought you hated this town.
Because life isn't a video game. There's nobody keeping score. There's no objectives. At the end of the day, when you're gone, you're gone. Most people are going to forget about you. And it's finding your own bit of enjoyment while you're here. And the fact that it's temporary and that there are consequences is what makes it enjoyable.
Uh-huh. I never miss it.
What's your name?
Nancy Taylor. And you are?
What high school did you go to?
See, he could go on these random one-night stand kicks and try to fuck every girl in the town,
Pittsburgh?
and there would be no consequence of that. But he ends up settling on Andy McDowell and starts putting all his effort into winning her over, figuring out about her, basically loving her, trying to make her fall in love with him every day, like a 50 First Dates kind of situation. And now he's figured out that he can ask people something, and then the next day, tag in quotes, he can have all this information about them.
Nancy Taylor?
He can pretend to be a long-lost friend now.
I sat next to you in the
This is me talking to people I went to high school with.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Phil Connor.
Didn't I see you at Shorty's party and you were on mushrooms? Nah, definitely not me.
I even asked you to the prom.
I don't know anybody named Shorty.
Phil Connors?
I was short and I've sprouted.
Well, he was short and he sprouted. Maybe he was Shorty.
God!
Phil Connors?
Great. You look terrific. Look very
We have an hour and 1 minute and 23 seconds left in this film. This film.
Channel 9 Pittsburgh.
Okay, I'm gonna have to set this mic somewhere where hopefully it doesn't pick up too much sound so that I can go take a PYS.
Promise me? Okay,
Hold tight, I'll be right back.
wish me luck.
Good luck.
Oh, Rita.
What's Rita?
How should I know?
What is this, some kind of one-night stand?
On the contrary, Nancy. I love you.
Okay, and I'm back. Could you guys hear my footsteps as I scampered away? Pro tip, if you want to conserve water and time, just piss in the sink. Turn the faucet on for a couple seconds. If you're tall enough or your dick's long enough, you can aim that directly down the drain. There's really going to be almost no splatter or puddling inside the sink itself. Flip on the handle for a quick couple seconds and rinse it down. Way better.
Dog bark.
It's like a urinal, essentially.
Hear the truck.
How many times would you have to go through this day before it comes completely and utterly boring because you've experienced everything that it has to offer?
Exit Felix.
Once you've memorized every nuance.
All right, Doris, come on. Hey, fix your bra, honey. That's better. Felix,
He's gonna rob an armored truck.
can I have a roll with quarters? 10, 9, 8,
Car.
5, quarters.
Memorizing patterns. Pattern recognition is a very useful skill in life. In fact, old school video games, that was really how you beat them. If you ever seen the movie Pixels, everything moved in patterns because it's programmed. It doesn't have a mind of its own. It's working off instructions. So you figure out the pattern, anticipate the pattern, and you can beat it. What the fuck? He decided to dress up as Billy the Kid. I mean, why not? Tomorrow he can be James Bond. Day after that he could be Superman.
I love this film. I've seen it over 100 times.
Phil?
Told you.
Nice
I'm
outfit.
Rocco.
Turn it around for me one time. Thank you.
Hi, Nancy.
Perfect. Oh, way to make a girl you're with jealous. See the look in her eyes? She's like, who is that bitch? She can't handle it.
That'll be one adult and
Two adults.
There's a Mac Lethal line where he says, my girl sees another girl wanting my seed. She gets so agitated she bones me on the couch. It doesn't rhyme, but it's true.
So I guess the question we have to ask ourselves today is, does Phil feel lucky? Rita, if you only had one day to live, what would you do with it?
I don't know, Phil. What are you dying of?
That's a bit of a loaded question. It's also inaccurate. He has one day to live, but he gets to live it over and over again.
I just want to know where to put the camera. What are you looking for, Phil? A date for the weekend?
No, I'm just interested in you. You know, what do you want? What do you like?
He's searching for an ultimate purpose in his life.
What kind of men are you interested in?
It's very
What
existential.
do you do for fun?
Is this for real, Phil, or are you just trying to make me look like a fool?
I'm just trying to talk like normal people talk. Isn't this how they talk?
She's not unattractive.
Okay,
It's
so talk to me. Let me buy you a cup of coffee.
she's got kind of like a librarian, teacher, girl next door kind of thing going for her. Maybe it's the curly hair. I'm not exactly sure. Especially when I was younger, I was like, that's the girl he's interested in.
I guess
Now I'm like, I can see it. There's nothing
career, love,
overtly,
marriage, children.
glaringly wrong with her.
Seeing anyone?
I think this is getting too personal. I don't think I'm ready to share this with you. How about you?
But it's odd that he decides to start pursuing her because they seem to not get along. I mean, they're cordial because they work together, but there seems to be no romantic interest there at all on either side at this point.
Well, first of all, he's too humble to know he's perfect.
That's me.
Funny.
Intelligent, supportive, funny. Me.
The good thing about me is that I don't know I'm hot, so that makes me hotter. It's a classic Adam Carolla line.
You also.
He's got a good body, but he doesn't have to look in the mirror every 2 minutes.
I have a great body, and sometimes I go months without looking.
Ugh, picturing Bill Murray's body makes me want to go a soft one.
Kind, sensitive, gentle. He's not afraid to cry in front of me.
This is a man we're talking about, right?
He likes animals.
That's a jizz-free ficus.
He'll change poopy diapers.
Does he have to use the word poopy?
Oh, and he plays an instrument, and he loves his mother.
I am really close on this one.
Does he have to use the word poopy? You don't, but you'll find yourself once you have a baby just doing it without even knowing. You start making all these words playful and oh, it's poopy. Do you have a tummy ache? You don't even realize you're doing it. Plus, you can't walk up to little kids and be like, hey, you have a shitty diaper?
Getting out today.
Band still won't start. Larry's working on it.
Wouldn't you know it? Can I buy you a drink?
Larry must not be a very good mechanic because he should notice that
What?
the coil pack is missing
He walks with a twist.
and the spark plug wires. Like,
What are the chances of getting
it would be
out?
fairly obvious that that was gone. It wouldn't be just like, oh, it's not turning over.
Why wouldn't you know it? Can I buy you a drink?
It would be getting no spark.
Okay.
Sweet vermouth rocks with a twist, please.
For you, Myth?
The same. That's my favorite drink.
What, are you just going to augment your entire lifestyle to impress this girl for a day?
The way the sun hits the building.
I mean, I guess what do you have to lose? Your life isn't even your life anymore.
To the Groundhog.
Always drink to world peace.
Okay, you cunt. She seems like the type of person that needs to turn every conversation into a social, political, global issue.
Okay.
I had fun once till my dad got cancer.
Rocks with a twist, please.
For you, Myth?
The same. That's my favorite drink.
Mine too. It always makes me think of rum. The way the sun hits the buildings in the afternoon.
What should we drink?
Cheese ball. Let's drink to world peace.
I like to say a prayer and drink to world peace.
To world peace.
World peace.
She's shocked at how wet she is right now. She can't figure it out. She's like, I don't like this guy. He's deplorable. But he's saying all the right things.
This is wonderful.
Sorry, can I tell you?
How do you know so much about Punxsutawney?
I've spent a lot of time here. People are more weird than that.
Spent a lot of time here. One day over and over and over again.
Yuck. Don't make me sick.
No white chocolate.
There is something so familiar about this.
Hmm?
Do you ever have deja vu?
Didn't you just ask me that?
That's weird. I wonder if there's like one other person in this that's experiencing the same thing as him and knows what's going on.
At high altitude.
It's almost like she is slowly starting to have this
How about
this
you?
space-time continuum memory of it, even though it didn't actually happen to her in this universe. It's hard to
This is about a million
Parse
miles
out.
from where I started out in college.
You weren't in broadcasting?
It's almost like she has an ancestral memory of it now, like the way you're afraid of snakes or the dark.
19th century French poetry.
What a waste of time. I mean, for someone else, that would be an incredible waste of time. You're so bold to even choose that. It's incredible. You must be a very, very strong person.
It's a little bit funny, but it's also kind of gross what he's doing.
People place too much emphasis on their careers. Gosh, I wish we could all live
Like,
at high altitudes. That's where I
You're really just going to change every little opinion you have along the way until you match up with her perfectly?
Well, it's gotten you here.
Uh-huh. Of course, it's a million miles from where I started.
That's Guy's biggest problem, from what I can see, is that
Journalism, anything like that?
we latch on to the idea of, like,
19th century French poetry.
a woman almost like a trophy, which you shouldn't do, and we completely augment our behavior and our lifestyle around pleasing her to get her in the sack, and then the jig is up and you either have to keep being that guy or go back to who you were in the relationship. Like, what the fuck is the point? Just so you can have another notch in your belt? It's exhausting to be a fake person. Constantly having to think about what your opinion is instead of just letting it flow out of you. What would she want me to say in this situation?
Well,
I don't know, but I want you to stop being such a little bitch.
Hey, an assassin! I'll protect you, Your Majesty.
You can go destroy that miner right now. You're only going to have to spend a couple hours in jail.
Find cover, my lady.
You are going to have to go through this whole rigmarole with her again tomorrow. That would get to feel like, ugh. Talk about something getting tired. I don't know how many days I would spend trying to please her before I just gave up. Go for more of the strong, silent type. What was his end game with her? Like, for some reason, he just decided to latch on to her and make pleasing her his daily goal. And they didn't really seem to have any sparks or anything prior to that. And you know, if she knew what was actually happening, she would hate him. She'd be like, you weaselly little fucker.
I'm just amazed.
Oh, the snow, the snow, the snow.
About what?
I don't know about where you guys live, but winter didn't come this year in Portland.
Well, do you like the way this day is turning out?
It probably dropped below freezing at night, maybe 15 times all winter. It snowed like 3 times, but never any accumulation. It never stuck. There was never any issue with the roads or anything. It was a very mild winter. I wonder what Punxsutawney Phil had to say about that. Now, coming from delivering newspapers for so many years, snow's a 4-letter word around the newspaper warehouse, along with hope. Both 4-letter words when it comes to the newspaper business. So I've hated the idea of snow for the past several years. And then finally this winter, I quit.
Okay.
And I don't have to worry about going out and driving in it or people calling in sick or dealing with their bullshit. Do you think I can make it in? I don't know. I did. What do you want from me? So I finally didn't have to deal with all that. And then this winter has been bullshit. Finally, if it had snowed and everything was fucked, I would have just been able to stay home and chill with the family. Wouldn't have to go out and drive and risk my life and all this.
Perfect time to a perfect.
But nope, no snow this year. So, better luck next year.
That's for me.
Me too.
Maybe I should go.
I saw them walking in the snow there, and I got a little bit nostalgic for snow.
Why? You've got a perfect fire.
I've lived in Portland for
Poetry here.
ever since I was 15, but
Mystique.
I'm from Central Washington, and we used to get,
I got some ice cream.
we had 4 distinct seasons there. You had a hot summer, fall, a little bit chillier, a little bit windier, and then go into winter where we would get
Yeah, I thought so.
snow events. We would have times where there was feet of snow dropped in a single night. And I got used to that being part of the environment when I was a kid, going out and playing in the snow. That's an environment where there's fewer consequences.
Just stay for a while, and if you like it, stay for a while.
You can play football in the snow and have a great time. Just jump all over the place.
Not spoiling it. I don't want to spoil it.
You know I can't stay with you.
When you're a kid, snow days are great. When you're an adult, they're bullshit.
You love me. You don't even know me. Oh no, I can't believe I fell for this. One long setup.
She realized what's going on, even though she doesn't actually know. She still knows.
Chocolate, no fudge.
What are you doing? Are you making some kind of list or something?
No.
Did you call up my friends and ask them what I like and what I don't like?
No.
Is this what love is for you?
No, this is real. This is love.
Stop saying that.
I'm kind of echoing her opinions here. Like, this is kind of disgusting what you're doing, dude. You're basically just tricking her.
That's not true.
And you know that she's not going to know the next day. So if he does actually fuck her once, is he going to bother with the whole rigmarole the next day, or is he just going to bag it one time and move along? I think that's what he's doing. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. You're going to do this again?
I think that's what's missing in the world today, don't you? Gosh, I can't wait to do this with my own children.
Gosh, I can't wait to do this again tomorrow with you because I failed to get laid.
I want to have my own kids. I want to have foster kids. I got this over at Snowman City. Look,
Just go fuck the other chick from the diner, dude. She had a better fashion sense anyway. Or the chick that dressed up in the maid outfit for you. Come on, just keep running that back. There's got to be more than 3 attractive girls in this town. Are any of you up for adoption? I'm sorry if this podcast is terrible. I'm honestly giving it a good country try. You will not talk like that. Mm-hmm. Some folk call it a sling blade. I call it a Kaiser blade. Mm-hmm. This guy over here, he's just doing these voices again, having conversations with himself, trying to make up for the fact that his content is terrible. Not every woman make biscuits in the middle of the night. Mm-hmm. Ice sculptures. What a beautiful piece of temporary art. I like to carve pumpkins, and I'm actually pretty good at it. That feels weird to say, but I've entered pumpkins in contests before and won or placed well. The only UFC event I've ever attended is because I got free tickets for winning a pumpkin carving contest that Dana White put on mixedmartialarts.com. Like 5 years ago, I carved a Cain Velasquez pumpkin. And that's so... I really enjoy the process of it, but it takes so long to do one, and it starts to fall apart immediately. It's never in as good a condition as it is the second you are done with it. You take your one beautiful picture, you post it on social media, and then you watch your piece of art rot away over the course of the next week and a half
what is Mexico?
and slowly lose its pristine precision. And that's a frustrating thing for me because I really like doing it, but I also struggle with the return on the investment for how much time you put in for a temporary thing like that. And making ice sculptures would be a similar... Or the Cake Boss, when you watch those TV shows and they make these ridiculous cakes, they put all that effort into it, and then it's done, and then it gets cut up and eaten, and it's gone. There's no preservation of it, and you just have to start a new project over again. There's beauty in that, but there's also pain in that.
This is pitiful. 1,000 people. Meeting to worship a rat. What a hype.
He's bitter as
Like they used
fuck
to mean
now.
something else. Now they used to pull a hog out, they used to hate it. You're hypocrites. All of you.
Is that true? Did they used to pull it out and eat it?
Saying, Larry. Untie your tongue and you come out here and talk, huh?
Come on, Woogie.
Am I upsetting you, princess? You want a prediction about the weather. You're asking the wrong Phil. I'll give you a winter prediction.
That's right, I forgot his name was Phil. And I've been talking so much during the movie that it hasn't come up. But he is also Phil.
The rest of your life.
Oh. Throw that motherfucker out the window. Do we have any idea how many times he's actually lived through this day? We have to be up to like 30 by now. At least. Like, is he doing Groundhog's Day for months? They do an effective way of showing you that time has passed by showing you the repetition. Just by showing that alarm clock, just the image of the alarm clock flipping to 6 a.m. Every time that shows up, we know it's a new day. I was just watching, we've been on an apocalyptic kick here in the house with movies. I'm sure a lot of people probably have been. I watched I Am Legend, I watched Geostorm, I watched 2012. We watched The Day After Tomorrow a few days ago, which is a movie that I've always really liked ever since it came out. It was more visually stunning back then than it is now. Now you can tell a lot of the digital shit's digital, and the higher definition that these movies get released in, the worse a lot of the older effects look. But I still like it quite a bit. It's got a terrible Rotten Tomato score. One of the issues I noticed with that movie, though, is that there are points where a lot of time has supposed to have passed, but they didn't indicate it to the audience at all. Like when Dennis Quaid leaves to go pick up Jake Gyllenhaal in New York, it's supposed to be quite a trek for him to get to New York, but it's like a snap of the fingers and no visual cues to tell us that any time has passed, and then he's there all of a sudden.
Did you see that? I believe he did. Okay, little fella, there you go.
They're gonna go home and fuck that hedgehog, groundhog, whatever. He's definitely got his thumb up that dog's ass. He's gonna steal Punxsutawney Phil. I forgot about that. There's his brother. Somebody kidnapped him. I'm gonna do a quick time check. Okay, we've got 39 minutes and 28 seconds left. We're at 101:40. We're cruising right along here, 2/3 of the way through. Could be worse. Definitely could be better. I like that classic Chevy truck. It wasn't nearly as old then as it is now, obviously. It was probably like 20 years old when this movie was filmed. That's so weird. It's like people knew something back then. They declared things classic when they weren't even that old yet, and they were right. That's the weirdest part for me. Like when I was a kid, my parents used to listen to classic rock on the radio station. And a lot of those songs were like 10 years old. But they were already considered classic rock. All the muscle cars and stuff like that, they weren't that old, but they were already, everybody knew they were classic. Nowadays, stuff doesn't have the same flavor. I don't know what it is, but we don't have stuff that comes out and then 10 years later it's deemed classic for the most part. It just doesn't work that way. It seemed like a weird line to draw. I always thought it was weird. Like, we decided that any music before 1990 is classic rock, but we're going to continue to have rock made after that. So are we going to create a new category, or are we going to wait 10 years and then we're going to grandfather in all the... How's this going to happen? Sweet rock quarry. This has been there the whole time. You could go fuck some shit up in there during the day. This could be fun as hell. Talk about Grand Theft Auto. Try to drive that truck up that pile of gravel. See if you can get it buried like quicksand.
What the hell is he doing? I don't know.
My coffee's almost gone, and I'm pretty disappointed about it, if I'm being honest.
Well, we mustn't keep our public waiting, huh?
It's showtime, Finn.
What do groundhogs even do? It's like a giant gopher. I fucking hate gophers. Keep digging up holes in my yard. Oh, it's their Thelma and Louise moment. So yes, he does kill himself. Wow, no corny explosion. I'm impressed. I love it when a movie Oh. Well, that stepped on my point. I was gonna say I love it when a movie has a car crash and it doesn't have some ridiculous over-the-top explosion shit. It just happens the way it would happen. Like in The Big Lebowski, I think he runs into some garbage cans or some shit, but it's just a chunkery fucking car accident. It's not like the entire thing was made out of C4. He didn't even bother to get dressed today. He's gonna take the toaster.
Sleep well, would you like something?
It's like he woke up and the first thought he had was, there's a toaster downstairs. Those were some tiny slices of bread. Look at those little slices of bread. Is that Wonder Bread wrapped in rubber bands? We also don't get to see what anybody else experiences besides him, if that makes sense. So when he dies, we don't get to see how anybody else carries on with the rest of the day after the fact. It's just like hitting the reset button and he goes right back to the morning. So he's reached the point where he's broken. He does not want to redo this day over and over and over and over again. Is it actually going to show him dead? It did show him dead. God damn it. Every time I say something, the movie goes, nope, wrong.
He was a really, really great guy.
I think I hear my son.
I really, really liked him. A lot.
This is a bit dark, but
I'm sorry.
as a person who's experienced fairly bad depression in my life,
I'm a guy, not the guy.
it can feel the way that he feels now, where you don't see any hope in the future. You don't feel like there's any point in carrying on. Every day feels the same, and he is trying to get out of that. Or like the Matrix, we created this world. They said they created a world that was perfect, and the human brain kept trying to wake up from it. I imagine this is a similar situation, where if you found yourself trapped living the same day over and over and over and over and over again, you would try damn near anything to get yourself out of that cycle by a certain point. Now he's going to try to convince them that he's actually living the same day over and over again.
Her brother-in-law Carl owns this diner. She's worked here since she was 17. More than anything else.
Look at that old coffee mug. They used to have those at diners back in the day. I remember.
This is Debbie Clyde's.
I don't know if this is a thing that everybody did or what.
They're supposed to be getting married this afternoon.
Whoa, that guy sitting there is
Lovely ring.
This is Bill. He's
that
been
was
away
the
for 3 years since
the
I met
stepdad from 8 Mile. He's in a bunch of other stuff too.
I am. This is Gus.
James Buell.
He wishes to stay in the Navy.
Me, him, and you, we went to the same school.
Half after 20 years.
Excuse me. This is an entry.
Well, maybe the real God uses tricks.
Maybe the real God uses tricks.
For long, he knows everything.
Oh, okay. Well, who's that?
This is Tom. He worked in the coal mine before they closed it down.
And her?
It's Alice. Came over here from Ireland when she was a
It's
baby.
too bad he didn't have a stash of weed. Because every day you would wake up and it would be replenished. That would be dope.
It's true.
Be like, hey, just so happened to get an ounce of weed on Groundhog's Day. Can smoke the whole thing. Tomorrow I'm going to wake up with an ounce of weed again. Oh!
Do you know me too?
I know all about
I know everything about you. I know you were in the movie Michael with John Travolta. That's about the extent of what I know about you, but that's something. It's not nothing. It's not a bag or a tube. If you hear some chunkering around, it's because I'm making myself another cup of coffee. So you'll hear the Keurig warming up in the background, getting the creamer out of the Frigidator. And shortly you will hear me ripping open a box of K-Cups made by Rev Coffee. Rev No Surrender Dark Roast Coffee, the most Rev coffee. This is not a paid advertisement. I just like their shit. Shout out to Rev Coffee, because I drink it and they ain't paying me for it. Not yet. Shout out to Petey Paulo. Swinging around your head like a helicopter, North Carolina. Come on, raise up, take your shirt off, spin it around your head in a helicopter. What a dumb fucking song that everybody liked when I was young. I can still remember the first time I heard it. It was on my alarm clock in the morning. I woke up in the morning, and you know, you have that knee-jerk reaction, shut off your alarm, and then I went, whoa, what the fuck was that? And I turned it back on and jammed out to the fucking North Carolina, come on, raise up. Now they're keeping themselves entertained quarantine style. Oh, it's 11:58 p.m. He's going to try to stay up into the next day. He's making it.
Be the hat. Come on, go. Be the hat.
It would take me a year to get good at
No, 6 months. 4 to 5 hours a day. And you'd be an expert.
He's experiencing a weird form of torture, because now, look at the situation there, and this is what he's been trying to accomplish the whole time. They're here. They're having their intimate moment,
The worst part,
and he's going to lose all his progress.
tomorrow you will have forgotten all about me.
Yep, see? He's realizing it.
No.
Everything becomes futile. There's no point, because you can't build any progress. It's just a single serving day.
So many times.
Fight Club, single serving friend.
Well, sometimes I wish I had 1,000 lifetimes.
God damn it. I've been drinking so much coffee, I have to piss again. Again? I'm sorry. It's never happened to me before. Actually, it is pretty normal for the morning, because I'm drinking all this coffee. And the system's just getting kick-started. I just normally don't record in the morning, so it's not an issue. Okay, we're gonna have to...
You're still here.
It's flicked to midnight and he's still there.
I thought you were supposed to disappear, or I was, or something.
Ooh. How freaked out would you be, ladies, if a guy started telling you this story? Think about that while I go take a piss. Reflect.
No.
Fall asleep. I promise I won't touch you. Much. I think the last thing that you heard was, only God can make a tree.
Landon? I think that my son's up, but I can't find him. What the fuck? Okay, I heard a noise. And I looked in his room and I did not see him. But where the fuck did he go? He does this. He's gonna try to jump out and scare me. Let's see if he succeeds. Where the fuck? I am completely confused right now. This makes for great podcasting, right? Not even paying attention to the movie anymore because I don't know where my son went. He must have woke up and heard me talking, and I don't know if he's trying to leave me be or If he's confused. Not in his tent. Dude, where the fuck have you been?
In your bedroom.
Okay, you didn't hear me calling your name, looking for you? Okay, I'm watching this movie and doing a podcast. I'll get you something to eat in a minute. Okay? I got you, babe. Did he lay down with her? I missed it. Because I was searching for my kid who was hiding from me. Were they in bed together and he just woke up by himself? You just gonna give him all of it? Why is he in such a great mood? Like he accomplished something. Did he get some? These people are having way too much fun considering what they're doing. Like, as long as I live, I will never understand why they think this is fun.
Skim milk, 2 sugar.
Yeah, thanks, Phil.
Pastry.
No, we're just setting up.
Has he turned the corner now and he's made it his goal to make everybody else's day as great as he can? Because that's going to get repetitive too. You're going to still be doing the same shit every day.
Get a better shot. What do you think?
Oh,
Sounds good.
Larry, what do you think?
Telling you your podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. Remember when I said just a second ago I'm watching a movie and recording a podcast?
Let me give you a hand with the heavy stuff.
That was what I meant by that.
No, you got your coffee.
I know I said I'm recording a podcast and watching a movie, but what I meant was I'm recording a podcast and watching a movie. It's your ears. You got to turn them on, buddy.
You have them right now.
What? Why did he have that smirk on his face? He does have unlimited time. Anything he has access to, like a book, for instance, he could read every book in the world, and no time will have passed in the actual world.
Oh, okay. I'm with a student now, but if you want to come back tomorrow.
He's gonna learn piano because she wants a guy that plays an instrument.
I can give you $1,000.
Oh. Excuse me. She kicked the little girl out. Better luck tomorrow. He's gonna learn how to play piano in a day. No, he gets to. That's right. My bad.
See the groundhog.
Buongiorno,
He can save his progress.
You think it's gonna be an early spring?
Winter, slumbering in the open air, wears on his smiling face a dream of spring.
I hate that guy's haircut. I cannot stand it.
Ciao.
His haircut.
Yeah. His hair is so thin, and I don't like anything about it. It's blowing bubble gum. Oh, God. It's terrible. He's gonna learn how to do everything, because he's got the time. He's becoming a Renaissance man. See the water dripping off that sumbitch while he's carving it? That's what I was talking about earlier. Before it's even done, it's already deteriorating.
No.
Definitely not an evergreen project.
They're gonna cover it.
Say what?
They're gonna cover it.
They're gonna cover it? What are they gonna cover it with?
Not bad.
Something really,
You say this is your first lesson?
Something really cold?
Yes,
That's
my
an idea.
piano mover, so.
His father was a piano mover, so naturally.
Phil,
Phil Collins?
I thought it was you.
Ned Ryerson. I have missed you so much.
I love this strategy. He's gonna be the abrasive one. Instead of this guy latching onto him and annoying him, he's gonna be the one doing the uncomfortable feeling. Or no, that's not what I meant. He's going to make Ned feel uncomfortable. Beautiful strategy. I once had a friend pay me $20 to harass a guy into leaving our house. We were having a semi-party, and this guy showed up he didn't want there. And so he's like, I'll give you a 20 if you can make him leave. And I was like, bet. So I went upstairs and I tied a bandana, Tupac style, around my forehead. I tied a bandana around each bicep. I put on my rubber gloves from working at the window shop. And I took my shirt off. And I went downstairs and I just got uncomfortably close to this guy and just kept talking to him and just put a little bit of my hand on his shoulder and how are you doing? And he left. I got my $20.
Where's the chart?
What is he doing?
Sometimes people just die.
Not today.
Has this guy not died before?
It's hard down there at the bottom.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Is he trying to keep this guy from dying at the end of the day now?
Come on, Dad. Come on, Pop. Come on, Pop.
Oh, God. Talk about another futile pursuit.
Come on, please.
He discovered that this guy dies at the end of the day, and so now he's going to try to prevent that from happening. You're probably confused. In this movie, every night when he goes to bed, he wakes up and he has to do the same day over again. It's the same day every time he wakes up. So this guy is dying at night, and then in the morning when he wakes up, it's the beginning of the day again, so he's trying to help the guy out and keep him alive by feeding him and stuff like that. And so now he's frustrated because it keeps happening anyway.
Winter is just another step in the cycle of life. But standing here among the people of Punxsutawney and basking in the warmth of their
I think your
hearts and
computer's
hearts,
logged in if you want to go.
I couldn't imagine
Okay.
a better fate than a long and lustrous winter.
Who am I talking to?
It's
I'm recording a podcast, buddy.
so long.
Commentary. Talking to the audience that doesn't exist. I'm talking to the 14 people that are going to listen to this over the course of the next 100 years.
I gotta go.
That was surprising. I didn't know
It's
you
weird
were
because I have to
so
pretend that there's people listening, like I'm talking, but I'm by myself.
Where are you going? Would you like to get a cup of coffee?
I'd love to
But
travel
in this
with
circumstance, I was talking to you a few times, like explaining the movie, etc. I'm thinking that if I can find the right movie, you and I might do one of these
I thought we were going back.
together later. I haven't been able to record anything since you've been home from school because of timing, so today I woke up early and you were still in bed, so I decided to knock one out. Nice catch, Jerry Rice.
What do you say? What do you say? You little brat? You have never thanked me. Baby.
You've never thanked me. In a strange way, he's trying to act like God, but he's just a man. He's trying to go around and fix everybody else's woes that they experience during the day and make this little snapshot in time perfect. And again, it's another futile pursuit. He's going to spend all day fixing this shit that he knows is going to go wrong.
Forget the tie around the jacket. Just be comfortable, all right?
And no matter what he does, tomorrow it's going to go wrong again. Now he's going to save his brother's life. His real life brother, not in the movie. He doesn't have a brother in the movie as far as I know. He may. Let's do a time check again. We've got 16 minutes and 34 seconds left.
Get some sharper teeth, all right?
Pretty close to the end. Heading around the bend, down towards the home stretch.
And the band down to the home stretch.
The Pennsylvania Hotel.
Understand what is involved in this. This is
Pennsylvania
an art form.
Hotel.
You know, I think
It's like having an Oregonian hotel here.
I hold a
This is the
camera,
Circle
point
Day.
it at stuff.
The Circle Day?
It's today's Circle Day. Where I'm gonna talk to my friends and I have to figure out something on
What time is that supposed to be happening?
I have no idea.
I don't either, because I forgot about it. Well, go find your circle thing, because it's, I mean,
I want a dragon fruit.
Rita.
okay.
How are ya? Rita, this is Nancy.
Hi.
Nancy, Rita. We were just gonna go to the party. You gonna go?
Yeah, sounds like fun. Maybe we should call Phil.
Oh, I'm so not used to keeping track of this stuff that he has to do that, I mean, he doesn't even have to do it. They do like a Skype conference call type meeting thing with his kindergarten teacher and the classmates, and she reads him a book, or they do show and tell. I'm just not used to having to fold those things into my routine or my daily schedule, so I completely forgot. Plus, it's getting extremely hard to keep track of what day of the week it is. They messed with my wife's schedule, so instead of working 5 days a week, she works 3 days a week, and she works Monday, Wednesday, Friday one week. The next week she works Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So basically, she's at work every other day. And so the structure of like what's a weekend, what's a week, all of it is very. We're in a gray area right now. So it was very easy for me to forget that he had that meeting today. But it's not even 10 a.m. yet. The last one happened at 10:30, so I think we're safe. I know you guys really care about this. This is great podcasting. It got hijacked a little bit when I stopped being solo, but it's the fucking way she goes, Rick. You like Yaz? Come on, Victor, tell me what's in the peanut can. I have jazz in peanut can. I like hippie hop too. No politic. America closed today. Sorry, folks. Wally World's closed. He's your student. He.
No, Daddy.
Thank you. Hello, welcome to our party.
If you don't have something constructive to add, don't talk.
Oh, I'm versatile.
Okay? I'm recording a thing. You're not gonna just interrupt me to say no, Daddy, for no reason, okay?
It's that nice young man from the motor club. Thank you again.
It's nothing, ladies.
He's the fastest Jack in Jefferson County.
Fastest Jack? Oh, that sounded
What's that all about?
wrong,
Really,
but I get it.
You've been hitting on me all night.
That lady claiming that he's her student when, if you think about it, from her perspective, he basically arrived at her doorstep today, a fully formed thing. And she gave him like one brush-up lesson, and she's claiming he's her student. Technically, he is her student because she's taught him everything he knows, but she doesn't know that. She thinks she just met him today.
What did you do today?
Oh, same old, same old.
He's a man about town. He's gonna be elected governor every day. Look at the varnish on that.
Hey,
Or
Fred,
f-
how's the weather?
Look at that guy. Look at how young and beautiful he is.
All I did was fan the flame of passion. Hey, Fred.
You are the best.
No, you are.
She looks a little bit like Bobcat Goldthwait in the best way possible.
No way.
WrestleMania? What? They're going to the 93 WrestleMania? Who headlined the 93 WrestleMania? Was that like,
Oh, this is the best.
was that Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels?
I don't understand.
93. Was that like WrestleMania 10 or 11?
know you. I mean, you only come here once a year.
Was that Yokozuna and
Excuse me.
Bret Hart?
Dr. Connors, I want to thank you for fixing Felix's back.
Not exactly sure.
Around the house again.
Anyway,
Sorry to hear that, Jim.
that was a rabbit hole.
Dr. Connors?
It's kind of an honorary title.
What is going on?
I really don't know.
No, there's something.
You want to go to WrestleMania? I don't know, man. WrestleMania is kind of not what it used to be.
Go from there.
At least from my perspective, but also you seem to become attached, people in general become attached to stuff that happened when they were younger. And then they always think that the new stuff that has come out since is not as good. Music, movies, wrestling. So I slide right in there. I like older music, I like older movies, I like the older wrestling, I like older stuff. Maybe the new generation is really into what they're being provided as far as wrestling content nowadays, but I grew up in the Attitude Era, Monday Night Wars, NWO, Bill Goldberg, Steve Austin, The Rock. Like, I had the glory days of wrestling. When WrestleMania hadn't peaked yet. WrestleMania was still growing year over year when I was growing up. Now I feel like they try so hard to outdo themselves, and it's kind of predictable, and it's just become very much the same with the huge stadiums and the fireworks shows, and just kind of they've also had tremendous trouble creating new talent that people are invested in. They keep having to bring back old talent from my generation and my era when I was a kid to get fans re-interested. They, you know, Triple H, The Undertaker, all these. She actually bid on him. This is progress, buddy. She didn't like him at all when the movie started. Now she wants to win the auction. High five, right? Oh, is she gonna bid on Larry? Beautiful balding man, Larry. A buck and a half? He's not a Happy Meal.
I bet a 2 bets.
Oh my gosh. Did they still do stuff like that? I always thought it was weird. I've only seen it in movies, obviously, but when they auction off people, like, this is not inclusive, you are just their company. I don't, like, it's a weird kind of...
Auto dental health with the optional death and dismemberment plan. Water damage, Phil. This is the best day of my life.
He's found his zone. He just spends all day making everybody else as happy as he can because his life is meaningless.
I got that.
What? People have different sounds they can make, buddy. There's people that can make all kinds of crazy animal sounds with their, you know, like.
I can't make that animal sound.
You'll get better at it when you're older. You just started talking a couple years ago. Give yourself a break. You gotta learn how to manipulate your mouth and stuff. You'll get it.
I'm not gonna be able to talk to animals.
I don't know that you'll ever be able to talk to animals, but you might be able to talk like an animal.
How did you do that?
You might be able to go or something like that.
You just kind of start playing with your throat and like the shape of your mouth, and you can start making all these different voices.
You will not talk like that. Mm-hmm. All right, then.
You might be able to talk in Spanish.
And then you could just shape your mouth like this, and you could start talking to some guys like this.
And then you come over here, and then the voice is totally different. And I don't even know what happened.
And then we come back over here, and we're just still talking to each other.
But then this guy's kind of weird. I don't really like talking to him.
Well, you don't really got a choice, because we're the same person.
Is that pretty funny? I'm sorry if this movie commentary got hijacked, guys. I was running out of steam, and my son came in to provide some fresh material, fresh perspective, fresh interactions.
Oh, you're not even looking at the movie.
Shh, don't tell them that. I got you, babe. I'll let you eat candy for breakfast if you can tell me who sings this song. Don't get too excited. You're never going to get it.
Jack Hartman.
Jack Hartman? What is that from?
Jack Hartman?
Is Jack Hartman a person?
Yeah.
From what?
From singing.
From singing?
Yeah. His name's Jack Hartman.
Sounds like a character The Rock would play in like Skyscraper or something. I am Jack Hartman. Obviously, there was Phil Hartman, who was a real celebrity. Rest in peace.
Phil Hartman.
Phil Hartman, he was an actor. He didn't sing, buddy.
I want candy for
That was a joke, dude. You know I'm not going to give you candy for breakfast. The only reason I said that is because I knew there was no way on God's green earth that you were going to be able to guess who sings that song. That's why I said it. Sonny and Cher. Good old frog voice and man girl. I'm not saying that Cher looks like a man, but she had a very deep voice for a female singer. I got you, babe. And Sonny sounded like a frog sometimes. If you've ever heard that Cher song, do you believe in life after love? When that song came out, I thought it was a dude up until I saw the music video. I really thought a dude sung that song, like an effeminate dude. I gotta be honest, I don't remember how this movie ends. And it's in the process of ending right now, and I can't see the TV because I'm smoking. I need to see what happens. 601 hit, no alarm. He figured it out. His goal was to find true love, crack the code, break the bank.
There's no one.
Now the real question is, was he set to do this a certain number of times, and today would have happened no matter what he did the previous day, or did he have to build this relationship with her, cultivate it, and succeed, and find love, and then he got to proceed with his life? Ultimately, it's kind of a cheesy story because they're saying that your life is meaningless until you find love, which I don't agree with, but it works in the context of the story. He's got a nice little arc that goes for him there. He starts off kind of bitter and sarcastic and unenthused, and I think it's just a different day. People just aren't out. The blizzard must have cleared up and they got out of town. So that was Groundhog Day. This was my first quarantine commentary and the first experiment with having my son on the podcast a little bit. Let me know what you think. Hopefully I didn't put my foot in my mouth too much. And we will probably be recording one with just the two of us in the near future. I just got to try to settle on a movie I think will be good. And we'll proceed from there. I appreciate everybody listening. Please like, subscribe, comment, all that good shit. Until the next time, this is Devin signing off and saying be easy. Say goodbye.
Bye.